So the Lego Batman movie is a spin-off of the highly successful Lego movie and follows the exciting yet somewhat lonely life of the Caped Crusader. That is until he accidentally adopts a son, who he teaches how to fight crime while also trying to discover the Joker's evil plan. So I adored the first Lego movie. I think that movie is a masterful work of animation. Great animation, great story, great writing, great characters, great music, great everything. I think it's one of the best animated movies to come out in the last 10 years. So for that reason, I was really excited for the Lego Batman movie. Now they're trying to do kind of the whole Marvel thing where they make a bunch of movies that are leading up to the next Lego movie. It's gonna be interesting to see how it turns out, but for this one, it turned out really well. I thought the Lego Batman movie was a ton of fun, although it does have its problems. But first, let's talk about the good stuff. The first, 15 minutes of this movie are pretty much perfect. It is a super fun, super exciting opening sequence. It's beautifully animated, it's action-packed, it's really funny, and it even has Batman rapping, and Batman spits some serious fire in this movie. The animation in this movie, just like the first Lego movie, is absolutely gorgeous. It's really hard to believe that it's actually CGI and not stop motion. Every single pixel is so detailed and looks so real that it's really stunning. I also really liked how similar to the first Lego movie, which felt like a love letter to Legos, the Lego Batman movie feels like a love letter to Batman and the legacy of Batman. There are so many references in this movie, like too many to count. It references the most recent incarnation of Batman, you know, the one that everyone hates.
What does that mean?
The Dark Knight trilogy, the Burton and Schumacher films. It even references the 1960s Batman, which was kind of stupid, but is still kind of enjoyable.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray.
You can tell that this is a movie made by people who love Batman, but I feel like that's this movie's biggest strength, but also its biggest weakness. If you're someone like me who loves Batman and loves the lore of Batman and everything Batman related, then this movie is perfect for you. If you haven't seen it yet, you absolutely should. But if you're someone who's really not that into Batman and really doesn't care about Batman, then this movie's not going to do as much for you. That's one of the things the Lego movie did really well that this movie doesn't do as well, is that the Lego movie felt accessible to everyone regardless of if you were a fan of Legos or not. With this one, I feel like you kind of have to be a fan of Batman or else you're not really going to enjoy it. This movie also has a giant cast of characters. Though I would say there's really only like 5 or 6 main ones, and the rest of them are kind of just cameo appearances. Will Arnett returns to voice Batman, and I think he did a great job once again. I was a bit concerned to see how this version of the character would be able to carry his own movie, but they did a really good job with him. He's really cool and funny, but also kind of a jerk, but I think that's one of the more interesting qualities about him. And like I mentioned earlier, he raps, so there's that. Zach Galifianakis plays the Joker in this movie, and I thought he was okay. I really liked the setup and motivation for Joker in this movie, but I felt like they could have made him a little funnier, a little more interesting, a little more memorable. My favorite character in this movie was by far Michael Cera as Robin. He was so funny in this movie.
My only trouble is his pants are just a little tight. I got an idea. Rip! It's better. Now I'm free. Now I'm moving. Come on, Batman. Let's get grooving.
I can only look you in the eyes right now.
As far as the rest of the characters, they were all really good, even though most of them had barely any dialogue at all. But the fact that this movie had infinitely more characters than any other superhero movie that has come out, but actually managed to balance them a lot better, that really says a lot. This would be the time where I'd make another reference to Batman v Superman, but I gotta stop beating that horse. That horse has been dead. It's been dead for like a week now, and I gotta stop. I also really like this movie's soundtrack. Not only was the original score surprisingly pretty good, but the actual song choices were also pretty funny. As far as problems go, there's not a ton, but they are kind of noticeable. For one, the third act I thought went on for way too long. I'm not saying the third act was bad though, it's not at all. It was actually really exciting and actually had a lot of really cool and unexpected stuff happen, but it just dragged on for a little bit too long. So while the Lego Batman movie isn't really going to appeal to people who really aren't that into Batman in the first place, and it does have a third act that drags for a little bit, it's still a really fun, really funny, really beautifully animated movie that is a ton of fun. It may not be quite as good as the first Lego movie, but that is a really high bar to reach. So it was a ton of fun and I really enjoyed it, and that's all I got. I made it and I like movies. See you guys later.